The invisible diagnosis. Sometimes what kills us isn't what doctors are trained to see. 20 specialists couldn't save the billionaire, but the woman who mopped the hospital floors noticed what they ignored. Richard Caldwell, founder of a Silicon Valley tech empire, lay in a private suite of St. John's Medical Center in Los Angeles. His hospital room more like a luxury hotel than a ward. Mahogany panels, soft lighting, discreet monitors hidden in the furniture. His fortune bought him privacy and the best physicians money could summon. Yet despite cutting-edge machines and an army of experts, Richard was slipping toward death. Alarms chimed. Renowned doctors frowned at scans and blood work, whispering terms like autoimmune cascade and neurological collapse. The most brilliant minds in medicine argued, powerless. And then, unnoticed, Maria Lopez entered with her mop and cart. She worked the night shift safer for a woman who preferred to be invisible. A faint chemical tang floated in the air, antiseptic, cologne, and something metallic. Maria's heart skipped. Her eyes swept the room. Yellow-tinged nails, patchy hair loss, a grey shade in the gums patterns she recognized instantly. Memories from long-ago toxicology lectures flickered to life. She knew what was killing him, but who would listen to a janitor when 20 specialists had failed? At 37, Maria was efficient, quiet, unseen. Years ago she'd been the star of her chemistry program, UCLA, a scholarship student with a promising future. But after her parents died in a car accident, Maria dropped out to raise 3 younger siblings. Life shoved her into survival mode, to jobs, night shifts, invisibility. Still, her mind stayed sharp. She devoured library books, online lectures, medical journals, knowledge without a diploma. Now, as she wiped down a counter in Richard's suite, she overheard the lead physician, Dr. Howard Grant, addressing his team. Grant was tall, silver-haired, Harvard-trained, his voice calm but commanding. "We've exhausted conventional explanations," he said. "Liver function continues to deteriorate. Neurological decline accelerates. We must consider rare disorders." Maria kept her head down, though every word burned into her mind. A knock. The door opened. A man in an Armani suit entered carrying a sleek black jar. Maria recognized him from business magazines. Daniel Pierce, Richard's longtime rival, turned concerned friend. His favorite hand cream, Pierce said smoothly. Imported from Switzerland. Only brand hell use. He placed the jar carefully by the bedside, almost ceremoniously. Too carefully, Maria thought. Too deliberate. She filed the observation away. In chemistry, anomalies always mattered. Later, in the staff lounge, 2 young residents muttered about the case. "Strangest progression I've ever seen," one said. "Doctor, Grant thinks it's autoimmune," replied the other. "But nothing lines up." Maria's pulse quickened. The pieces clicked together. Neuropathy, alopecia, digestive issues, classic signs of heavy metal poisoning. And that cream, the perfect delivery system, absorbed daily through the skin, unnoticed. But her certainty collided with reality. Who would believe the cleaning lady? That night, alarms shrieked at 2:17 a.m. Code blue. Maria froze in the hall as doctors flooded Richard's room. His kidneys were failing, his brain activity plummeting. One young physician, Dr. Aaron Blake, ventured. Could it be environmental? Food, water, products? Grant shot him down. "We've tested the room. Focus on medicine, not amateur detective work." Maria's fists clenched around her mop. She wanted to scream. "Look at the cream." Instead, she retreated. But not for long. Back in her tiny apartment, Maria dug out an old textbook. Its pages yellowed, but precious. She reread the chapter on thallium colorless, odorless heavy metal, once favored by poisoners, absorbed easily through skin, causes hair loss, nerve damage, organ failure, symptoms that mimic dozens of illnesses. Exactly what Richard displayed. She whispered to herself, "It's thallium. I'm sure of it." The next evening, Maria adjusted her cleaning schedule to pass through Richard's suite alone. Heart pounding, she scooped a trace of the cream into a sterile container swiped from supply storage. She slipped it into her pocket. That night, After tucking her 2 kids into bed, Elena, 14, and Matteo, 12, Maria spread supplies across the kitchen table: foil, baking soda, a few cleaning reagents, her old notes. With careful hands, she improvised a crude field test. The sample reacted. Positive. Thallium. She snapped photos. Evidence. Proof. The following day, Richard worsened. Daniel Pierce appeared again, with another jar of the same cream, urging nurses to apply it generously. Maria's suspicion hardened into certainty. Pierce was poisoning him. But how to make the doctors listen? She tried leaving an anonymous note on Dr. Grant's clipboard. Test for thallium poisoning. At the morning briefing, Grant scoffed. It seems even housekeeping fancies itself a diagnostic team now. Laughter rippled through the room. Maria's cheeks burned. But humiliation couldn't outweigh the truth. That afternoon, she intercepted Dr. Blake, the younger physician. "Please," she whispered. "Look at the symptoms. The hair loss, the neuropathy. It matches thallium exactly. It's in his hand cream. I tested it." Blake frowned. "We already ran heavy metal panels. Standard tests miss gradual doses," she insisted. "It's classic toxicology." He glanced at his watch. "I appreciate your concern, Miss Lopez, but I have to go." And he hurried off. Minutes later, security warned her. "Stay out of medical affairs. Another complaint, and you'll be written up." She almost cried, almost quit. But then she thought of Richard's failing body upstairs, and she resolved, "If I lose my job, so be it. He won't lose his life." The opportunity came that evening. Richard's condition triggered an emergency conference. 20 experts crowded into his suite. Charts glowed on screens, monitors beeped, voices overlapped. Maria stood outside the door, clutching her evidence folder. Photos of the cream test, symptom timelines, visitor logs linking Pierce's arrivals with Richard's decline. She inhaled deeply, then pushed the door open. Head swiveled. Grant scowled. "This is a closed conference. Out." Maria's voice shook but held. "Mr. Caldwell is being poisoned with thallium, and I can prove it." The room froze. She laid out her evidence: the symptoms, the improvised test, the cream. Every visit from Daniel Pierce coincides with new doses. He insists the cream be used daily. Thallium absorbed through the skin explains every failure you've seen. Grant sneered. "You're a janitor, not a doctor. I was a chemistry scholar before life forced me out, and I never stopped learning." "Doctor." Blake leaned forward, scanning her notes. Her explanation fits. The symptom progression makes sense. Our panels wouldn't detect low-dose exposure. Another specialist muttered, "The alopecia pattern is textbook for thallium." Silence. Then Grant exhaled slowly, staring at the jar of cream. It was radioactive. Within minutes, toxicology tests confirmed it. High levels of thallium. Orders flew. Nurses administered Prussian blue, the antidote. Security reviewed footage Pierce applying the cream himself, smiling as he did. Police were called. 3 hours later, Richard's vitals stabilized for the first time in weeks. Maria lingered by the wall, exhausted, overlooked even in triumph. Until Dr. Grant approached. "You were right," he admitted hoarsely. "We all missed it. You saved his life." Maria met his eyes. "I'm invisible. That's why I saw what you couldn't." Grant nodded, humbled. "You deserve recognition. More than recognition." Moments later, Richard stirred awake. His voice rasped. "What happened?" Grant hesitated, then did something rare for him. He pointed across the room. "You were poisoned." And this woman Maria Lopez solved what none of us could. Every gaze shifted to her. For once, Maria didn't shrink. Richard whispered, "Thank you," for seeing what they didn't. Applause swelled from the younger doctors, spreading until the entire room echoed with it. Maria stood taller, no longer invisible. That night, leaving the hospital, she paused in the parking lot. The lights of Richard's suite glowed above. Inside, a billionaire healed because a janitor dared to trust her mind. Maria whispered to the night, "Sometimes the most valuable knowledge isn't framed on a wall." And she walked away, finally visible,